from the Pfizer clinical trial phase 3. We'll keep tracking the vaccine race, of course, but let's turn to our big political story tonight and my big talking point, because the battle lines have been drawn in a turbulent Jammu and Kashmir. Remember, the Union Territory now, as it is called, is gearing up for its first major elections next week after the abrogation of Article 370 last year. But now you've got a tussle between Delhi and Srinagar. A day after Amit Shah, the BJP's Home Minister, the Modi government's Home Minister, referred to the alliance of the valley-based parties as the Gupkar Gang and virtually accused them of working against national interests. Delhi and Srinagar are locked in a bitter war of words, a war of words that's taking place amidst mounting terror incidents in the Kashmir Valley. It's our top focus tonight.
The battle lines are drawn in Jammu and Kashmir. The stage is set for the first major elections since the abrogation of Article 370. The District Development Council elections will of renewed terror attacks and shelling on the line of control. And more importantly, in an atmosphere of clear divide between the Narendra Modi government and the valley's mainstream parties. Home Minister Amit Shah threw the first punches at what he called the Gupkar Gang. He accused the People's Alliance of Gupkar Declaration of trying to foment terror.
गुपकार ग्रुप का जो रवैया रहा है प्रारंभ से, वह जम्मू कश्मीर के हितों के लिए घातक ही रहा है। वो जानते हैं न धारा 370 वापस आनी है, न कोई चीन और देशों का हस्तक्षेप इसमें बिल्कुल संभव है।
Alliance partners hit back, calling abrogation of Article 370 illegal.
You're the Home Minister of this country. It does not behove you to talk like this. आप लोग actually you are rattled. जो हमने यहाँ के सियासी जमातों ने अपना political baggage एक पासे रखकर एक unity दिखाई है आज.
The Congress, which had signed the Gupkar Declaration for protection of Jammu and Kashmir's special status on August 4 last year, is in a tight spot. After the Home Minister asked Sonia Gandhi to clear their stand on controversial statements by Mehbooba Mufti and Farooq Abdullah, the Congress did a course correction.
हम सब इकट्ठे लड़ रहे हैं चुनाव और कांग्रेस उसके साथ।
हम तो इलेक्टोरल अलायंस में हैं उनके साथ, इसमें कोई शक नहीं। अभी हमने कोई मीटिंग तो अटेंड नहीं की।
When the Gupkar Declaration was first signed in August 2019, just before the big decisions with regards to Jammu and Kashmir were taken by the central government, Congress was a part of that declaration, in fact had signed it formally. Congress has ever since shied away from being openly called a partner of this group. This is something that has not also gone down well with the parties like PDP and National Conference in Jammu and Kashmir. With cameraman Tariq Shujaul Haq in Srinagar for India Today.
Let me go to my first newsmaker then tonight. I'm joined by the former Chief Minister of Jammu and Kashmir, Senior National Conference leader and MP, Farooq Abdullah. Dr. Saab, appreciate your joining us. Farooq Abdullah, my big question. How should I introduce you today? As a three-time former Chief Minister of Jammu and Kashmir, or as the head of the Gupkar Gang, as Amit Shah, the Home Minister, is calling you, and other valley-based leaders today?
I'm very sad that a man of his stature as Home Minister of India calls people who are leaders of this country, not only of Jammu and Kashmir, but of the nation, as gang. This is unfortunate, very unfortunate.
No, I'll tell you why. In one of his tweets, Dr. Abdullah, the reason why he seems to be referring to you and the others as a gang, he says, Indian people will no longer tolerate an unholy global Gathbandhan against our national interest. Either the Gupkar Gang swims along with the national mood, or else the people will sink it. Somewhere Amit Shah seems to suggest virtually that there is a huge question mark over your loyalty in a way to India because of the stand you've taken on Article 370. Hence he calls the coming together of all of you as a gang.
I don't think he has read the history of Farooq Abdullah. I defended this nation in number of international fora. One cannot forget that. I have never been anti-national, and by the grace of God, I'll never be anti-national, whatever they say. I think the only problem with them is that you are either with them, and then you are nationalist, and if you are not with them, you are anti-national. That is unfortunate. After all, this nation is for all, irrespective of your color, your region, your language. It is for all of us. That is what India is. But they think that if you are BJP, then only you are Indian, which is unfortunate.
Dr. Abdullah, Amit Shah, the Home Minister, then goes on to add the Gupkar Gang is going global. They want foreign forces to intervene in Jammu and Kashmir. It is a clear reference to your remarks a few months ago where you seem to suggest that China intervened in Ladakh only because of abrogation of Article 370, and you were accused, or you seem to suggest, that Chinese support was needed for your stand on Article 370.
I think let him be very clear about it. China is not because of now. China has been on our border for a long time. And part of that territory, Akshay Chin, is also with them. So it's not Farooq Abdullah who is saying that. And they are sitting on 1,000 kilometers of our territory.
You know,
Have they done anything about it?
You know, your statement seems to indicate, though, that in some way you were seeking Chinese support on your stand on Article 370. That's how your statement was seen.
I think they have twisted my statement. They have twisted my statement for their own good.
No, you're saying twisted your statement. Let's get a clarification then today from you once and for all on your statement of China. Since that has caused all the hangama, we want to know, where does Farooq Abdullah stand in the context of China at the moment? The Chinese are on our borders. They're in Ladakh. Where do you stand?
I have already said that. I am absolutely clear.
What?
China has nothing to do with me.
Okay. Now, all of this is coming, Dr. Abdullah, on the back of elections, finally local elections to be held in Kashmir for district bodies. You've gone ahead and formed the alliance of valley-based parties called Gupkar Alliance for our viewers, because number of you live on the heart of Srinagar, and the sense is that you are also going in for the elections, pitching this election as Kashmir Valley versus Delhi. Are you also playing to Kashmiri sub-nationalism once again?
It is not Valley. Please, Rajdeep, clear yourself. It is not Valley versus Delhi. It is Jammu and Kashmir that is fighting against BJP. They are misruled. They are dividing people on their religious basis. India's independence was fought by all, Muslims, Hindus, Sikhs, Christians, everyone who is part of India.
No, Dr. Abdullah, the reality, let's get real. The reality is the BJP is the dominant force of Jammu, and you and others like Mehbooba Mufti, the valley-based parties, are seen increasingly limited to Kashmir. That is the reality. Let us be honest, and therefore this divide exists between you and Delhi, between you and the BJP.
It is not a reality. Please remember, when this thing was made, immediately we were locked in. We could not go anywhere. And we couldn't call anyone. Overnight, everything had changed. Then we were locked up. It's only when we were ready to go, COVID came in. Jammu recently had a good reception from people from all walks of life. Umar went to Kargil. So it can't be just valley-based. They would like to show it as only a Muslim. It is not a Muslim thing.
Dr. Abdullah, the Home Minister says the restoration of Article 370 will push the valley back to the era of terror and turmoil. That the article existed as a shield for dowry, child marriage, corruption, stop reservation for SCs and STs. So is Article 370, given the stand that the government is taking, they are saying it's non-negotiable in Delhi. As far as you and the centre are concerned, we now seem to be completely at daggers. The two of you seem to be at daggers drawn. on Article 370. Would I be right in saying there is no middle ground left?
And I want to ask the Home Minister very honorably, has removal of 370 removed terror attacks? Has it? They have increased. It's not right that 370 was responsible for terror attacks. Let him correct himself.
You know, but somewhere, Dr. Abdullah, as I said, we are entering a situation where there's a complete breakdown now in relationship, the kind of language being used. Are you being pushed to the wall in a sense by the center and you have no options left now?
No, don't go that far. Don't go that far. Please. Rajiv, if we had not gone into election, they would have said, Pakistan has forced us not to fight election. Now that we are fighting election, we are supposed to be international. I don't know. What do they want us to do? I mean, it's unfortunate. We want to fight democratic election, but look at our people. They're locked up. They're not allowed to go around and canvass for their seats. Now, this is not democracy.
Sir,
this is something different.
Dr. Abdullah, the fact is one of your key partners in the Gupkar alliance, Mehbooba Mufti of the PDP, makes a comment that she will hold the national flag only after the honor of the flag of J&K is restored. This leads to a situation where she is accused of divided loyalty. You are being accused in a sense of being a group of people who have divided loyalties. How do you respond to that?
Please, he is divided. We are not divided. We have held that flag high. Election in '96 when nobody was there. The party didn't exist. And I went to every place. Attacks. Hundreds and hundreds of my workers died. My minister died. What did they die for? For the nation.
Sir, I'm asking you about Mehbooba Mufti. Sir, I'm asking you Mehbooba Mufti. Her exact quote was, she will only hold the tricolour when the flag of the erstwhile state of Jammu and Kashmir is restored. The government says that that is seditious.
Please, let me tell you, she has already made that clear, that she will hold both the flags. Not said that she doesn't love that flag. She's carried that flag on her car for all those years.
You know, Dr. Abdullah, all of this is coming down in the end to a trust deficit. We've always seen an uneven relationship for decades now between Delhi and Srinagar, but it seems that it is now the worst after post-Article 370's abrogation in terms of complete lack of trust. Am I correct?
Well, when was the trust created? Did they ever try to create a trust? They locked us up without talking to us. Who lost the trust? We or they? Nothing against the nation. Rather, I am the one who fought. They were trying to release the people. And I said, don't release them because the nation will be in danger. Did they listen? And today we are international. We stood with India. And we still stand with it. Stand with it.
But where does one go from here? You know, for all that, for all that is happening, where does one go from here in Kashmir? The District Development Council election next week, are there a glimmer of hope? Or are we now stuck in the state of frozen turmoil for months, with terror attacks increasing? Is that going to be the fate of Jammu and Kashmir?
Rajdeep, we don't want to be in turmoil forever. We want our people to progress. We want our people to live honorable life. We want to see them earn honorable wages. We don't want conflicts. We are not the ones who are interested in conflict. Conflict only destroys, does not build. And if we want to build a strong nation, we have to get rid of conflicts. And that can only be done if you produce that trust. And that trust is for Delhi to try and find out.
Just a final point I want to understand, is the Congress part of your alliance in the valley? Because now the Congress is saying they are not part of the Gupkar alliance, even though they were a signatory to the alliance in August 2019 when you all opposed the abrogation of Articles 370. They're now reportedly doing seat adjustments with you for the elections. Let's get clarity. Even the Congress slowly distancing itself from your alliance because they are embarrassed?
After the tragedies that Home Minister has tried to put them into a corner, they are a nationalist party. They have to start thinking of nation as such. And therefore, they want seat adjustment. Otherwise, they have already said, and they are clear about it, that 370 should be restored and the people must be given statehood. Congress is fully geared to that.
But at the end of the day, I want to ask you, no national party today wants to be seen to be openly associating with the parties of the valley, because it appears that, as I said, that the entire debate has become about Kashmir versus the rest of India. As someone who has watched this over the years, does that trouble you, that we are now more polarized, more divided than ever before?
Not at all. You're putting that way. It is not against India. It is part of India. Never think us to be out of India. That will be a wrong statement by you or by anybody else.
Dr. Farooq Abdullah, you've spoken as always as you do, shooting from the hip. I appreciate your joining us and giving us your perspective there on the news today. Thank you very much. Let's just broaden this, because remember, this is going to become